It's a good bounce back win for us today. I thought we started the game with the right tone on the defensive end, and so that was that was.
The basketball world just stopped cold. After months of awkward silence, quiet shots through the media, and what many called the most controversial roster decision in modern sports history, the unthinkable has finally happened. Team USA didn't simply add Caitlin Clark to the training camp list. They handed her control of the entire program. In a move that has left analysts, former players, and fans completely stunned, the same coaching staff that once insisted she wasn't ready and needed to earn her place has officially named her Team USA captain. But if this sounds like a feel-good story about redemption and respect, look again. The real story isn't the title she received. It's the strange, tension-soaked way this unfolded and who ultimately forced it. News this massive should have come with a polished press release, a celebratory rollout, or a unified show of support from veteran players. Instead, it broke in the most uncomfortable way possible. The announcement came straight from the head coach during a media session witnesses described as stiff, unsettling, and ice-cold. Standing at the podium, she stared directly into the cameras and announced Caitlin as the new leader of the program. No smiles, no warmth, just words. Just a year ago, this same coach was pushing a narrative centered on chemistry, experience, and rookies knowing their place before stepping onto the world stage. Now, without warning, that message flipped entirely into passing the torch. It felt forced. It felt abrupt. And judging by Caitlin's wide eyes and rigid posture in the background footage, she looked just as shocked and blindsided as everyone watching. This didn't feel like a promotion. It felt like a concession. And that's exactly why we have to examine what happened behind closed doors in the 48 hours leading up to this moment. Because when the same people who work to keep you out suddenly place the crown on your head, the question isn't celebration, it's suspicion. Is this a win or is it a setup? To grasp the full weight of this decision, we need to rewind. You cannot understand the shock of this announcement without revisiting the war that defined 2024. That summer was never just about picking a roster. It became a cultural fault line inside the sport. When Caitlin Clark was left off the Olympic team, it wasn't framed as a routine basketball call. It was sold by the media and the sport's old guard as a necessary lesson in order and hierarchy. The justifications came fast and unapologetic. She was too young. She lacked experience. We were told the physical demands of the international game would overwhelm her body, but the loudest and most repeated argument centered on chemistry. Team USA's leadership, the veterans who had spent a decade playing together, were said to have a balance too fragile to risk on a rookie, regardless of her popularity or impact. The reaction was explosive. Fans erupted. Analysts clashed. Social media spiraled into chaos. Still, the coaching staff never wavered. They held their ground, captured the gold medal, and pointed to the result as validation. On that podium, medals hanging from their necks, they felt justified. In their minds, they had proven the system works and that no individual outweighs the program. Which brings us to now. What changed? How do you go from she disrupts chemistry to she leads the team in under 18 months? Did Caitlin magically gain a decade of experience overnight? No. Did the veterans suddenly volunteer to step aside? Not a chance. The basketball logic never shifted. The numbers stayed the same. The performance didn't suddenly change. The only thing that changed was leverage. And that leads straight into the uncomfortable truth about who really controls professional sports. Whispers are already spreading that this wasn't a coaching call at all. Because if you want to understand what happened, you have to trace the money. Multiple insiders claim this sudden reversal was a business survival move, driven by executives in suits, television network power brokers, and global shoe sponsors who bankroll the entire system. Look at the data. The moment Caitlin arrived, WNBA viewership skyrocketed. Arenas sold out. Merchandise shattered records. Television ratings surged to levels that rival the NBA. Yet while the league was thriving, the national team, the supposed peak of the sport, was seeing interest stall outside of Olympic play. The old guard captured gold, but they were losing the attention battle. The growing belief is that leadership was handed a hard, non-negotiable ultimatum: make Caitlin the immediate face of the program, or risk losing funding and prime-time broadcast slots. According to reports, network executives met directly with Federation leadership and laid out a blunt reality. Audiences tune in for Caitlin Clark. If she's absent or worse, stuck on the bench, the casual fan flips the channel. The coach may have delivered the announcement at the podium, but many believe she was reciting lines authored by those who control the money. That explains the stiff posture, the flat tone, the absence of pride. This wasn't a coach celebrating her player. It was an employee executing a corporate directive. They needed her pull. They needed the Caitlin effect to keep the program relevant in a rapidly shifting sports landscape. But this is where the story turns darker and far more personal. Leaks are circulating about a closed-door meeting that allegedly happened just 24 hours before the public announcement. This wasn't a team discussion. It wasn't a virtual call. Sources claim the coach summoned Caitlin into a private office at the training facility, away from teammates and cameras. And according to those familiar with the conversation, the atmosphere wasn't confrontational. It was desperate. The rumor is that the coach admitted, perhaps for the first time, that the program is vulnerable. The gap between the US and the rest of the world is shrinking. European teams are getting quicker, stronger, and more disciplined. The old guard is aging out. The coach reportedly told Caitlin the team doesn't just need her shooting. They need her as a shield. They need her star power to mask the program's internal weaknesses. They need her ability to sell tickets so the operation can continue at an elite level. By most accounts, it was a concession dressed up as an honor. Now imagine being Caitlin in that room. The same person who publicly sidelined her a year earlier is now sitting across the desk, asking her to rescue the program. The shift in power is almost unsettling. Sources say Caitlin listened quietly, offering little response. She didn't ask for the captaincy. She didn't lobby for it. It was placed on her shoulders like a weight. Unsurprisingly, this decision has detonated inside the locker room. To understand why, you have to understand Team USA's hierarchy. This is a group that has played together for years, built on seniority and status. There are veterans, multiple-time gold medalists, and future Hall of Famers who have spent a decade waiting for their turn to lead. Now imagine their reaction when they learn that the player they tried to exclude, the rookie they dismissed, the outsider they scoffed at, is suddenly the one in charge. Reports suggest the team group chats have gone completely quiet. No public congratulations from the senior stars, no welcome messages, no posts acknowledging the leadership change. Just silence, and in modern sports, silence speaks volumes. There are rumors of jealousy, sure, but the issue cuts much deeper. This is about respect. To the veterans, the captaincy is earned through years of commitment to the program, not awarded by marketing forces chasing ratings. Many see this as the end of the culture they helped build. We're hearing that some older players are even weighing early retirement or sitting out the next cycle altogether. They don't want to be led by a 23-year-old. They don't want to play a supporting role in what they see as the Caitlin Clark show. The locker room is reportedly split down the middle: young players who view this as the future versus veterans who see it as a slight. In the process, the coaching staff may have ignited a civil war within its own roster. So how is Caitlin handling it? Sources close to her say she walked into that meeting bracing for bad news. When she received the message to report to the coach's office, she assumed she was in trouble. Maybe she'd said too much to the press. Maybe they were preparing to cut her again to send a message. When the offer came, "We want you to be captain," she reportedly paused. There was no celebration, no grin. She understands exactly what this means. Wearing the captain's patch paints a massive target on her back, not just from opponents, but from inside the locker room. If chemistry collapses, the narrative will be that she failed as a leader. If the veterans push back, the headline will read that Caitlin lost the room. And if the team loses, the blame won't fall on the coach anymore. It will land squarely on the captain. Caitlin is smart. She has an elite basketball IQ, but just as importantly, she has a sharp media IQ. She understands that this may not be a sincere olive branch. She accepted the role because you don't turn down Team USA. You don't turn down your country. But those close to her say she's stepping into this with full awareness, knowing she's walking straight into a minefield. She's now leading a team that may not be ready or willing to follow. Which brings us to the most unsettling theory circulating among analysts: the glass cliff. In business, this refers to women being elevated to leadership roles during moments of crisis, when failure is most likely. And the question has to be asked, is that what this is? Look at the landscape. The rest of the world is closing the gap. France, Australia, Spain, they're all surging. The US roster is aging. The margin for error is shrinking. By installing Caitlin as captain now, right before a turbulent transition, is the program positioning her to absorb the fallout? If Team USA stumbles in the next World Cup or struggles through exhibitions, the narrative is already locked in. Critics will say, "We warned you. You brought in the rookie. You disrupted the culture." And now the losses are piling up. The old guard gets to step back clean. The coach gets to say, "I listened to the fans and it failed." It's a flawless scapegoat play. If Caitlin succeeds, the staff looks visionary for evolving. If she fails, they look vindicated for sidelining her in the first place. It's a win-win for the establishment and a lose-lose for Caitlin unless she plays flawless basketball against overwhelming odds. And as expected, the internet is in full meltdown. On one side are the Clark loyalists, the millions of new fans she brought into the sport. They're celebrating. To them, this feels like justice. They see this as the unavoidable victory of talent over politics. To them, this is the moment the critics were finally forced to back down. Social media is being flooded with edits of Caitlin wearing the captain's armband, shots aimed at the coach, and demands for apologies from veteran players. But on the opposite side are the purists. These are fans who followed the women's game for decades, and they're furious. They believe the integrity of the sport is being sacrificed for clicks and ratings. To them, a second-year player has no place captaining a roster of legends. They see this decision as a slight to the program's history. The comment sections have turned into battlefields. Accusations are flying claims that the coach folded, that veterans are resentful, that Caitlin is an industry creation. It's ugly, it's deeply personal, and it's driving engagement through the roof. Ironically, that's exactly what the executives wanted. The reaction didn't need to be positive or negative. It just needed to be loud. And on that front, the mission was a success. Now, go back to the press conference, because the body language told a story louder than any statement. When the coach announced the decision, she didn't look at Caitlin. She focused on her notes. She scanned the room. She avoided eye contact with the player she was elevating. Caitlin, meanwhile, sat with her arms folded, a closed, defensive posture. Her answers were short and rehearsed. "It's an honor. I'm ready to work. We have a great group." Standard responses. But the smile never reached her eyes. There was no banter, no shared laugh. Normally, when a new captain is named, former leaders are there to pass the torch. This time, they were nowhere to be seen. The absence of senior players at that podium was impossible to ignore. It was just the coach and Caitlin, isolated on an island. That single image perfectly captures the current state of the program, the administration and its new star standing apart from the rest of the roster. So where does this go from here? Training camp opens next week. That will be the first time Caitlin steps onto the floor wearing the captain label. And every move will be watched. How do the veterans respond? Do they feed her the ball? Do they follow when she calls a set? Or does a quiet, passive-aggressive rebellion unfold in real time? Practice footage will be dissected like never before. Lip readers will scrutinize every sideline exchange. Body language experts will break down every high five or every moment one doesn't happen. Missed shots will be amplified. Turnovers will become headlines. Caitlin has proven she can handle pressure. She survived the NCAA scoring record chase. She endured draft night expectations. She absorbed the physical targeting of her rookie season. But this is different. Leading a group of teammates who may privately want you to fail is a different kind of pressure. This isn't physical. It's psychological. And the fallout doesn't stop with Team USA. This decision sends shockwaves across the entire professional league. It signals a changing of the guard that will reshape contracts, endorsements, and media narratives for years. The Caitlyn era isn't approaching anymore. It has arrived, and it's been officially stamped by the national team. For the rest of the league, this is a warning shot. The old hierarchy is collapsing. Popularity and marketability now carry as much weight as tenure. That shift could breed deeper resentment, or it could force other stars to elevate their game, both on the court and online. Either way, the result may be a league that's louder, more competitive, more volatile, and far more dramatic than ever before. As everyone scrambles for a slice of the pie that Caitlyn is currently devouring alone, the decision to name Caitlin Clark Team USA captain is the single biggest gamble in the history of women's basketball. It's a move born from financial pressure, driven by fan demand, and carried out with an awkwardness that exposes deep internal fractures. The coach has set aside her pride, the veterans are simmering in silence, and Caitlin Clark stands at the center of the chaos, carrying the flag. Is this the start of a golden era, where the old guard and the new generation combine to form an unstoppable force? Or is this the moment the dam finally gives way, triggering a catastrophic collapse on the world stage?